Well, hello, I'm Alister Benn, Expressive Photography, and welcome to the Isle of Lewis, right off the west coast of Scotland here. We just arrived, we've come off the ferry this afternoon with the mainland. I'm over here with a private workshop, just myself and one client, so it's going to be a really cool little experience over the next 9 days. He's over there doing his own thing as he wants to do. So I'm taking this opportunity to explore a location that I've been to quite a few times before, but obviously it changes every time you're here. So the tide today is very, very low. So we're right out in almost like the estuary of where the river flows in. And this is a location that's really amazing because the river that comes off the island here is very rich in peat. The water's very reddish. Less so down here near the river, near the ocean, but further up there's lots of areas of sediment with really red pools and stuff, and it's really quite a striking feature. Now, I'm photographing something that I've not photographed here before, and it's a really quite a straightforward scene. We've got these kind of meandering channels of flowing water. The black sand and the yellowy, the golden sand are separating out into these really cool little patterns. We've got the flow, we've got converging lines. It feels dynamic, it's changing second by second. The surf breaking out there is incredible. There's a really quite a big surf. So even though the light is flat and overcast, the sun might pop through at some point this afternoon. It's only 2:30 in the afternoon. The sun sets in about 2 hours, so we're going to spend pretty much the rest of the remaining light in this location. So what I want to bring you today in this video is kind of studies of a landscape. The first scene I'm taking, as I said, are these confluence of lines. I've cropped it into a 4x5 because I'm using a 12mm prime, so I don't have any zooming capabilities really. And I've cropped it into a 4x5 to get rid of some rocks on the left hand side which are coming into the scene if I was in full frame mode there. So really this is just, the 4x5 aspect ratio gives it a really kind of a cropped feel. It cuts in the sides, it makes it less expansive, but hopefully this is going to turn into something really quite nice. There's a richness to it, the warm tones in the sand, juxtaposed obviously with the coolness of the clouds there. So yeah, for a starter I'm quite happy with this, but I'm definitely going to explore. I can see things behind me which also look amazing. I've got 3 lenses with me. I've got my 12mm prime, I've got a Nikon 2470, and I have my 80-400, so I've got 12 more or less all the way through to 400, so I can see the way the light is working behind me here, that there might be some interesting things pointing in that direction, maybe with a slightly different lens. Wonderful to be back here though, I just love it. I am using a polarizer here. There is a specialised filter holder that fits on the front of my 12mm without any vignetting, and it's amazing, so I'm really happy with that. And it's got a built-in circular polarizer, and what I'm trying to do is I'm just taking off some of the shine, and it brings out a lot of the richness in the water. There's a real kind of a saturated feel to the water running through this scene. So yeah, I've got high hopes for this one. this scene is slightly different. You can see I brought the tripod much lower here, and with a 12mm prime, being right on top of a subject is really, it fills so much more real estate with the foreground. When the tripod was higher, like in the first shot, you get this very elevated, detached feel to it. And if we compare those two shots, so if I just take this one, if we compare those two shots, you can see this one has an intimacy to it. And although we do lose some of that perspective of the channels flowing, I think there's still enough in this one, with this channel coming in on my right hand side there, to give that essence of the scene, you know, the flowing channels, and then the way the sand interacts with, you know, separating out the black from the golden sand. And I think of the two, this one seems to me a bit more successful. And that can be a natural progression. As you first come to a location, it's easy to shoot the first thing you see, but then, you know, as you kind of loosen up and get into it, I tend to sort of zone in a little bit more focused on things. And this big black mass of, it's almost like black flames in the sand there, is such a striking feature. And what I'm trying to do here is detach myself from the concept of making photographs and just immerse myself in the feel of this scene. So to me, it feels very airy. It feels very bright and open, which, you know, with a full frame, wide angle, 12mm, quite high key, it's quite, you know, there's a brightness to the scene. It feels all of those kind of uplifting feelings. The geometry is very nice. I think this will work really, really beautifully. I think there's a way to make this really quite a striking photograph. But I love this foreground, those sort of tongues of black sand in the foreground there. And it's not about making the grandest or the most majestic shots, it's shooting what is here. And I think that's such a fundamentally important thing, is not to wish for anything that isn't here, not to dream of giant glaciated mountains. I'm on the west coast of Scotland, it's a grey overcast day, I'm shooting what is present, and I'm very much engaged with what it is in front of me right here. Another thing to point out in this shot, this little bank of waves here on the right hand side, that you can see how they're flat for a short period of time and then they build up and build up. So we get more rippling. Now obviously we've got a dog walker going to start walking through the frame here, which gives you a sense of scale, just how massive this beach is. In fact, I'll take one with the lady and her two dogs in it. But this flooded section on my right here, the waves build up, create more texture, create more definition, and then the water builds up behind them and swooshes through and makes that a far smoother, calmer area of the frame. So there's a huge amount of little micro variability going on. Moment by moment, things are changing, things are evolving. It's always different. There's nothing staying the same in this scene. So it's not about getting the perfect shot. Every single one of them is different. Every one of them is perfect in its own way. Yeah, it's a very accepting location, this one. think one of the things I've always loved about Scottish weather is it changes minute by minute, second by second. 5 minutes ago we had beautiful light starting to filter through, and it really looked like the whole beach was going to light up, and now it's gone kind of flat again. The sun's off behind me in the west. This is looking east towards the mainland of Scotland, but we're still finding very intricate channels, patterns, and the way the light is interacting with the surface. And I think the one thing that's really coming home to me again this afternoon is just how lucky we are to be in the countryside. It's a luxury to be in the countryside. To be out here with a camera or even an iPhone or even with a pair of binoculars looking at birds, we are lucky to be here. And I'd hate to ruin that by wishing for better light or wishing for more dramatic clouds or wishing for somehow these utopian conditions that come along periodically. And I just think that's the lesson to become a happier photographer. Composition is a skill and it's a craft and you can learn, but really if you put together a combination of elements that are naturally occurring, so in this particular case, simple lines, diagonals, a bit of hillside behind us, some rocks, some surf, a little bit of sky, all the elements are just there, and I just want to appreciate them as they are. Is it a perfect combination? Is it a perfect composition? Probably not. It's probably a little bit top left heavy and all of those sorts of things that we talk about when we critique photographs. But I've got something here this afternoon, and it's a life experience. Even now I'm seeing the light interacting with the surface of the water, the sound of the surf behind me. All of these things are just making me feel better about my life and being here and being able to make photographs. So yeah, it's easy to judge, it's easy to condemn, it's easy to wish and dream for better things, but one thing's for sure, Chris and I have arrived here this afternoon. We could have gone to any number of different places and maybe it would have been better, maybe it would have been worse, maybe we would have got rained on more, starting to rain a little bit now, but we'll just keep on guessing. You know, that's what parallel universes are for, is these other opportunities and other versions of ourselves going off and doing interesting things. But I just want to thank you for coming with me this afternoon, taking the time to watch this video. Hope you appreciate the Scottish landscape as much as I do. I genuinely love my country, and I feel so blessed to have the light and the conditions and the opportunities that we have so close to home. So yeah, if you like this stuff, hit the old thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment. Of course, you can check out the Expressive Photography learning material, be that our Luminosity and Contrast, Colour of Meaning, or Creativity Superpowers ebooks, Dodge and Burn Masterclass, the black and white videos, or indeed the Expressive Photography Members Forum, where you will find a community filled with people who appreciate this for what it is rather than what we hope it could be or that may be more popular on social media. So yeah, I'm going to potter around, and if I find any more images I'll post them at the end of this video in a little slideshow for you. But thanks for bearing with me, and yeah, I feel very fortunate to be here. Bye for now.